Ahmed, front and center.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
All right. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for joining us today. If you have a question for Coach, please send me a chat. Who would like to start? Ahmed, go ahead.
Cool. I was just going to ask, just because with the senior class, with their last home game set for Saturday, when you came in and had to revamp the culture and were working on building your program, I guess, how did that senior class, I guess, show that they were capable of, I guess, changing and evolving into what you into your vision?
Yeah, that's a great question because one, I mean, words really can't even express kind of to explain kind of the gratitude I have to this group, because anybody that's followed Maryland football, and especially these last couple of classes that have gone through here, some of the stuff that they have gone through as a team, as a football family. And for this group, I mean, it's a decent sized group. Some obviously weren't here for the whole ride of it, but this group is really stuck together. And to me, I think this group epitomizes more than any kind of what the Terp way is all about, because these guys have faced, like I said, a ton of adversity. They haven't maybe had the success that they envisioned when they made the decision to come be a Terp, and hopefully we can take care of our part, as a football family and as a team to give them an opportunity to feel what it's like to have extended play and to play in a postseason bowl before they get out of here. But, the leadership they've shown, and I always equate it a little bit to, coming in as a stepdad to an 18-year-old moving into his home with his mom. And, the first year, it's kind of like, hey, you're not my dad. And you're looking at him like, yeah, but I'm here because of your mom. And, I'm going to learn to deal with you. But you know what, after a year or two, and now it's been 3 years with this group, they become yours. They literally, we've grown together. We've, as a program, they've laid down a really, what I call a strong foundation of being that, the pillar of overcoming adversity, of showing the relentlessness that we talk about having to have. And, I owe it to this group more than just about any group, in terms of, because they've stuck through and have been able to, had to make adjustments to the type of culture we've created, how we do things, have had to be very unselfish. That should be good writing for you right there, Ben. Ahmed.
Go to Emily.
Yeah, as someone who has step parents, it's a great analogy there. I just thinking about Michigan, without getting into game planning stuff, but when you have the pass rushers that they do, what can you guys do? What can Talia do to try to keep that from becoming a serious problem?
Yeah, I think the big thing is the pass rushers become a factor in your game plan when you're in third and long situations. So to us, if we can be effective on first and second down, which when we show the propensity to not have negative plays or to have drops or things like that to put us behind the chains, as we say, it allows Leah. If you study Leah as a quarterback, typically the ball comes out pretty quickly. I think, when I was talking to the guys on Fox a week or two ago, they talked about when they studied him, the ball's out in 1.8 seconds most of the time on most of his drop back passes. And a lot of that's designed on how our offense is run, but where you see the sacks come into play or the pass rushers become a factor is when you're in third and long and you've got to hold on to the football a little longer than you typically need to gain the necessary yardage to get first down. So the way you can, kind of contain those type of pass rushers like they had is staying in third and manageables to where they're unable to just kind of pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
We'll go to Jacob.
Hey, Coach. With the defensive backs kind of starting to get in a little bit more of a rhythm in terms of turning the ball over, can you just talk about what you're expecting from them in this next game?
Yeah, if you look at how Michigan plays, obviously they're a run-first system on offense, and this is one of those games where our defensive backs got to do a good job of, again, helping get that ball on the ground. But, as far as what they need to do in the passing attack with Michigan, they typically have been a catch and run offense. I mean, they do take some shots down the field, which, you know, those kind of have been our Achilles heel, some of the shots people take because of, you know, we've had some of these pass interference calls that have really gone against us when people have taken shots. But with Michigan, I think what they try to do is obviously off the run, they have the run action pass to complement it. And that's where we've got to do a good job of having the eye discipline that we always talk about, that if you're not responsible for a run fit, let's stay focused on what your job is. And, you know, one of the things we've tried to really, really continue to just bang home with our players is, you know, our effort and the way we play and the competitiveness we try to play with is there. But what we need to make sure we don't have are those lapses in focus, you know, and you know, maybe the last few weeks I've been using the word discipline, but it's really a lack in focus with our guys to understand, like, in critical situations, I've got to do my job and make sure I don't let anything come into my thought process that takes me away from doing my job. And that's in all phases of our game plan.
We'll go to Dylan.
Hey, Coach, the younger running backs, Penny Boone, Colby McDonald, they got in the action against Michigan State. How involved are you expecting them to be against a team like Michigan? And do you kind of see those guys as the running backs of this program's future?
Yeah, you know, obviously losing, you know, Fleet Davis here, he's got a couple games left with us that, you know, those guys definitely are part of our future. You know, Challen, obviously, being a little nicked up, has really offered us some he brought some great leadership to the room, and, you know, losing both he and Fleet have opened up some opportunities, you know, for a guy like Penny Boone, who, you know, I think has shown flashes of what he can be and what he can be like. And obviously, you know, Colby McDonald is one of the guys that over the last, you know, 6-7 weeks that we've kind of tried to put in and get him into some game situations, knowing that that he has a bright future for us. But I also think a guy like Roman Hemby, you'll see a little bit more of Roman. You know, we've gotten to that point now where you can play guys in games and still get the red shirt out of them. And so wouldn't be surprised to see Roman Hemby being used, whether it's on special teams and also as a change of pace back. And then, you know, I've been really, really pleased with Antoine Littleton. I mean, I know he hasn't been one of the guys that we've seen out there, but the job he's done, you know, changing his body and the work he's done down on the scout team. And, you know, he's a guy that I think has a bright future as well.
We'll go back to Emily.
I have a special teams question. It seems like Joseph Paterno hasn't been quite as consistent as he has in the past. Is there anything that is the source of that, or is that just the way it goes sometimes?
You know, with Joe, and with kickers in general, it's always a psyche thing. A lot like a golfer. You just got to get into a routine, and there's still a lot of confidence in Joe. And, you know, obviously I think we put him in some pretty tough situations where, you know, we took a bad sack and got, you know, a longer field goal than expected, but he's very capable of making those kicks. And, you know, we've seen him, you know, when he's in rhythm, I think that's the whole key with him. So, you know, we're trying to do everything we can to kind of get him back into that rhythm. And one of the things he has done really well the last few weeks is the hang time on his kickoffs has allowed us to get the ball tackled down inside the 20 a couple of times here the last few weeks, and kickoff coverage had been one of our Achilles heel because we weren't getting that type of hang time to allow the coverage unit to get down the field. So where he's maybe struggling or inconsistent with the field goals, he has been doing some of the other things pretty well.
Does anyone have anything else? Jacob?
Yeah, I know that Rakim had a hard fall in the last game. I was just curious if he was feeling, how he was feeling, and if he'd been practicing okay this week.
Yeah, you know, he's been one of those guys that has been banged up most of the year, and so we've tried to do things. Obviously, with us losing some depth at receiver, it's taken him a couple of days typically after a game, and if you look at some of the contact he takes in games and the way he plays pretty reckless with his body, it takes us usually a couple of games to get him to where he's feeling good. I mean, you know, we always talk about the difference between hurt and being injured. And this time of year, we have a lot of guys that are hurt. You know, nicks, bruises, bumps, and bangs that come along with playing a physical sport. And again, with him and the things we do and ask of him, you know, we've been able to try to manage his recovery, manage the wear and tear, because again, if you look at playing, I think 4 games last year and however many games this year, he's really only played a complete season. So this is really still a freshman season for him that he's coming out of in a physical league. So yeah, we're doing everything we can to get him to the games and make sure that his body is recovered fully, because he does play pretty reckless, and he's had a good week. Practiced yesterday, been able to run around. He'll get out there today and do some things. So, hopefully by game day, he'll feel back to his normal self in terms of the bumps and bruises that come with playing a physical game.
Is everyone good? Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.